Brother Darrell, heaven is real. I believe that with everything in me. And you said so when you first got up. You talked about how that you believed with every fiber in you, that you trusted in the Lord. And I wonder sometimes as I look, as I live in this world, and of course we live here, and you talked about being happy, or you know, and so I look at a lot of things in life, and look at how people live, and of course we live here, and I raised my family here, and I work, we all work, you know, and most of us, Brother Darrell sits a lot, you know, and I aggravate him about that, and you wonder, at least I do, I wonder how people get through life without the Lord. How do they make it through the troubles, and how do they make it through all the times, the worrisome times, and the things that we see that just seem so bad, and we see things that's so overwhelming sometimes. And I wonder, how can people even attempt to get through life without knowing the Lord? Brother Darrell, it's just that they don't know. That's why that's one thing I can come up with. They don't realize in their mind how bad it is, or they don't realize how much or how lost that they are. And the Bible talks about that, about how that they're blinded by the God of this world, and they see they're caught up in life. And I see so many that are caught up in life and caught up in the ways of life, or caught up just living life, and they feel that that's their joy, and they feel good in it, and they think that everything's all right, but they have no idea that hell is real, that it's one heartbeat away. And so when I come to church, Brother Darrell, I've come today because I love the Lord. I've come today to worship Him in spirit and in truth. I don't know about you, but I owe Him everything that I am, everything that I have, everything that I do, I owe to the Lord. And so that's why I'm here today, to give Him praise. Brother Darrell, did you have any, or Brother Stephen, did you have any reason today maybe not to come to church? You have anything come up saying, maybe I can't make it today? Or any reason to say, well, maybe I shouldn't stand today, or maybe trying to figure out a way to get out of it? I have those thoughts. I have those worries. But you know what? I'm here. And you know why I'm here? Because I love the Lord. I may not get another Wednesday night. I may not get another Sunday morning. I may not have another opportunity to lift my voice up and say, I love the Lord. But while I have breath, Sister Brenda, guess what? I'm going to declare it into the world. And I know their eyes may be blinded by the God of this world, but I'm going to lift up Jesus. So maybe the light will shine unto them, Brother Darrell. We don't know who it's going to touch. We don't know what direction it's going to go. We don't know that that's God's will. That's God's way. I'm going to let Him be God. And I'm just going to stand and say, here I am, Lord. Use me. If it's for one, then use me. If there's many going to see it, use me. I can't touch them, Brother Darrell, but I know who can. Jesus can. Praise His name today. That's why I'm here. I'm here because I love Him. I'm here because He done something in me. He saved me from the fiery pits of hell. Is hell real? Yes, it is. I remember laying in my bed worried about the flames of hell. And you say, well, how did you even know that? Well, I didn't have a care until the light shined, Brother Darrell. And then my eyes become open, and I remember laying in bed. Lord, watch over me tonight. Lord, hold my hand tonight. I could feel the flames. I was scared. And people said, you shouldn't preach a scared religion. I don't want you to have a scared religion. I was afraid of going to hell. I was afraid of my sin. And I knew that God was real. That's the fear of the Lord is what I had. And the Bible says that's the beginning of wisdom. I was worried about those things. And so, you talk about believing And that Bible belief, I like that. That Bible belief. That Bible belief will make you do something. Huh? You know, I was sitting there reading about Nicodemus, and I thought about him today while I was driving along. Nicodemus came to Jesus by night. He came to him kind of out. The edge of dark, maybe, kind of on his own. You think Jesus knew who he was? I'm pretty sure he did. Huh? Knew all about him. The Bible talks about how that he was a ruler. That he had authority over people. Kind of looked up to, wasn't he? But yet he came to Jesus by night. People say, oh, because he was trying to hide. Because he didn't want nobody to see him. But why did he even come to Jesus? And then come at night? Huh? I believe in the heart of his mind, he was intrigued, Brother Darrell. And he was weighing it out. I believe he believed. And that belief caused him to do something. Huh? That belief caused him to step out. That belief caused him to come to Jesus to inquire. And people will preach it sometimes. They say, when Nicodemus came to him by night and says, what must I do to be saved? It's not what it says, actually. It said he came to him by night. And says, we know that thou must be a prophet or a man of God. For where he saw the miracles, he saw the things. Said, and God is with him. He come inquiring. He come with a wandering mind. Brother, I remember praying to God with a wandering mind. Praying to God, not exactly knowing how to pray, not exactly knowing who it was I was praying to, and that may sound crazy to you, but this is how I was. I felt like I was a young child, ignorant in a lot of those things, but yet something in my belief of God caused me to want to cry out to Him, caused me to understand a few things, caused me to look unto Him. Nicodemus came by night because he was interested. He was intrigued. He wanted to know more. That's what he said to Jesus. We know that thou must be a prophet. And the first thing Jesus said to him, he didn't beat around the bush about anything, did he? The first thing he said, thou must be born again. Because that's where it's at. Except you be born. You cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. And it happens twice when you go down through there and read it. So, you must be born again. Of course, we know that Nicodemus then looked at him and tried to understand it with the natural mind. You ever try to understand those things? You ever pray to God? You remember, go back to that time. And I say this maybe last Wednesday or the Wednesday before. Sometimes it's good, Brother Dave, that we look back. Not where we come from, not in the way that we lived, but when we look back where God saved our soul, where God made the change in us and put us on a new road, that straight and narrow. Got us off that broad and put us on a path to heaven's land. We need to look back to that. Nicodemus began to question and try to understand it naturally, saying, how can I be born again at my age and enter again into my mother's womb to be born? Try to understand things. Brother, I tried myself to understand. When the Lord was drawing me, I didn't understand a lot, but I tried to hash it out myself, with my own understanding. That which is spirit is spirit, That which is spirit is spirit. God's ways is God's ways. So I'm telling you tonight, if someone has that intriguing desire to come to church, if someone has that desire in their mind to turn this on and listen to it, if they have that desire to turn it on while they're driving down the road and to listen, or maybe even just to turn the Bible on and listen to it, if there's a desire to go to church, if there's a desire in your heart to call and talk to somebody about church, about God, about heaven, or about hell, if there's a desire there, then you're no longer blinded by the God of this world, but you're enlightened by the God of heaven, and He's shining that light light unto you, and there's a reason for that. He has given you opportunity that you may be saved. And if that is happening to you, blessed are you. And the choice is yours, that you can take heed to it. Take heed to it, and you can surrender to it, and you can lay down all these things, and not go to work here and go to work there and do all this, but surrender to the light that's shining unto you, and make that choice, and let God make the change in you. Praise His name today. That's the change that you need, not the change that you can make. There's a man one time, he made a change in himself, didn't he? He cleaned his own house up. He swept it up good. And there was a demon, and he cast it out. He thought he was doing real good until that demon come back. He had no control over it, Brother Darrell. He had no control. And he come right back in again and brought in 7 others. And that man's case was worse afterwards. But I'm telling you what, if God is drawing, that's that divine calling, that what's the word I'm looking for? That day of visitation that a lot of people talk about is when that light shines unto you. And if anybody's listening, if anybody here tonight, if you have that desire, that is not of the devil, that is not of the world, that is not of the things of this life, but that is of God to draw you, to allow you to see. And I believe that drawing power, you can see it all through the Bible. It caused Cornelius, not this one, but although he did too, it caused him to pray unto God and to figure out what he needed to do. He didn't get that understanding by man, did he? Philip and the eunuch, it caused him to have a desire to read and understand. And then when Philip came to him and expounded unto him, he had an overwhelming desire. Where there's water, what does hinder me to be baptized? Who gives that? Who does that? Who gives that? God gives that. That's not of the world. That's not of the devil. That's not in your imagination. That's not something that you could conceive of. But that's of God. And if God is drawing you, He's giving you opportunity that you can lay down all things. That you can surrender yourself and realize it's not of you. It's not of works. But it's all about God. Through and by Jesus Christ, because He is the way, the truth, and the life. And that is why we're here today. That is why we're here tonight, to preach Jesus Christ. Brother Darrell, when I hear Christ preach in the stands, I'm saved and I feel that with everything in me. I still get excited. When people say, oh, y'all need to preach something else. Y'all need to go on. And a man pulled me aside one time, and I'll end with this, Brother Darrell. He pulled me aside and he said, well, what do y'all preach over there? I said, what? He said, what do you preach over there? And I said, well, preach Christ. Well, I know that, but what do you preach? Christ. He goes, so you preach to get people saved, in other words. Well, if Christ is preached, you can get saved. If He's drawing. And so I talked to him a little bit there, and he goes, well, I probably won't come visit you. I'm being serious. George said, I probably won't come visit you. And I said, why won't you come? He said, well, I'm saved. Why would I want to go to a church that all they do is want to get people saved? Didn't make any sense. In other words, what he wanted was he wanted to go to a place to learn more and more. And that's all right, to learn. But when Christ is preached, Brother Darrell, it feeds me. I'm a Christian. It feeds me. It helps me. Okay? It makes me grow. It gets me closer to God. But to any of the Christians listening and anybody here in the crowd today, if you're relying on the minister to get you closer to God after you've been saved, then you're in trouble. Because that's a personal thing between you and God. Are you growing? Are you getting closer to God? Are you on your knees praying? Are you in the Word? Are you reading? Are you out being a light to the world? Because if you're relying, brother, if they're relying on me, I'm going to say it like this. If Brother Stephen is relying on me being up in the stand for him to be close to God, you need to be close to God yourself. Now, do I have some part to do with that? Yes. As being a moderator here, I feel that. But you have work to do. That work comes after you've been born again. So let's get up. Let's get about His business. Time is short. And it's so close, Brother Darrell, that it would not surprise me if at any time we see that eastern sky burst open. I walked up the hill yesterday. Now, I don't think my little girl's watching, but I call her a little girl, but she's 14, so she's not that little anymore. And we was walking up the hill from the gym, going all the way up, and we was looking around. The sky, it was dark, but the moon was shining, the stars, and it was just beautiful. It's just me and her. And I said, honey, look, the handiwork of God. Look how beautiful this is. And she just looked and smiled. I said, you know I love you. And I said, years from now, if time still lasts, I want you to be able. I said, we're doing things, we're playing ball, and we're traveling, we're doing things because I love you. But I want you to be able to say, my daddy loved the Lord, and he worked for the Lord. I said, that's what I want. And she looked, she smiled, and she teared up a little bit. We've got to be a light to the world. These children back here, they need you. You're a mother and father to them, but they need you. They need to see the light. They need to see your love of God. That's what they need to see. And some don't have that, Brother Darrell, in their homes. Well, that's the church's responsibility. Let's be a light to this world. Let's be up and about His business. Time is short. We don't have time to play games. We don't have time to mess around. Maybe time will last longer. Brother Darrell, you getting any younger? But Stephen, you getting any younger? Amen. Let's get up and about the Father's business. Let's get busy.